If you are interested in learning more about dark mode, how it might change some of your in-app designs and impact your multi-channel strategy, then you're in the right spot. So, what is dark mode anyway? Dark mode is just a theme that can change the appearance of your mobile UI to look a bit darker. It's not necessarily new though. Twitter released its first dark mode support back in 2016. And last year, in 2019, Apple and Google released their dark mode support in their mobile operating systems. So this is what light mode looks like in an iOS device. And this is the App Store in light mode. It should be noted that light mode and dark mode will be permanently enabled or permanently disabled at the device level. With iOS, you have a bit more flexibility though. You can have it based off of a schedule. So if you want light mode during the day and dark mode at night, definitely up to you. This is what dark mode looks like on iOS and the corresponding App Store. There's a few considerations to think about with dark mode. It uses darker elements, so it uses less brightness and can have a positive impact on your battery. There's also a school of thought that thinks that dark mode might reduce eye strain, but at Braze we haven't quite seen that scientific evidence. But it's something to consider. But the most important thing to remember is that choosing dark mode is an explicit user preference. There are only a handful of things that you can learn from a user's device specifically, like their preferred language or their time zone, but this is another opportunity for someone to give you that rich information. You should be listening, and if you have the resources available, you should be responding too. So when designing with dark mode in mind, there are a handful of things to keep in mind. You've got the color variables that are default by iOS and Android. If you're leveraging those color variables, then there will be an automatic counterpart in dark mode that can automatically be flipped on when somebody chooses dark mode. If you've designed with bespoke brand colors though, you will need to change every single design element to have a dark mode counterpart. Depending upon the cleanliness of your code, that might take considerable resources, implementation, and QA, but it could be very important. So oftentimes, teams come to us and say, where should I get started? If you have a scrappy team, we recommend always starting with your design team. They can put together some mock-ups, and your engineering and product team might be able to eyeball the level of effort needed. From there, definitely listen to the user response. Ask for those NPS scores. Offer up surveys to get more information. Check out the ratings and reviews responses you're seeing in the App Store. But if you have more resources available, we highly recommend that you double down with your product and engineering team. Do some usability testing, do some accessibility testing, do some thoughtful speccing. You really want to think about how this is going to impact the user experience in dark mode. You're probably going to be thinking about your multi-channel strategy as well. So with in-app messaging, Braze can offer out-of-the-box support for a dark mode profile. When you're creating an in-app message in Braze, you can always have a light mode. So right here, you're seeing a light mode in-app message. But you can also choose to support having a dark mode version. So with only the flip of a button based off of what somebody has already chosen in their device, you can have a beautiful dark mode that still meets your branding and still gets that point across. Now with the push and SMS messaging channels, this is already done natively. These are owned by the operating system. So in essence, dark mode is supported out of the box, nothing that you have to do. Check that one right off the list. With content cards, these are based off of the UI that you set. More often than not, when someone's creating that in-app inbox, they want to have bespoke custom feels. So they tend to do customization on the UI level. So when you're creating that integration, think about dark mode, light mode, how you want it to look. And lastly, there's email. Now there isn't a specific dark mode version of email, but there are ways for you to make it look better. If you think about the background color, super important. A handful of brands forgot about that, and it makes the dark mode version look broken. You don't want that, but there are some CSS queries that you can run to make it look a little bit better. Now, if you want to learn more about dark mode, how Braze is thinking about dark mode, and maybe even what that CSS query is, I highly recommend that you check out our Perspectives article, What is Dark Mode Anyway?, written by one of our senior product designers, Sarah Wilson. My name is Jordan Houghton Mace. I'm on the Braze customer success team as the team lead of enterprise. Thank you for listening.